Got all the money in the world, and a neat scarf I can twirl. But no one's on my side or paying me no mind, so I'm a dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. If I had the chance, I'd ask the world to dance, and I'm a dancing with myself. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, and now sweat. 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 Dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. Dancing with myself. What up, everybody? Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron. I hope everybody is absolutely wonderful. Joe, make a clip out of that. Tom Steyer. He was at a thing. He's just dancing around. No one, that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing. All right, there we go. Little Tom Steyer to start the day doing his thing like he does. All right, I hope everybody is well. I hope everybody is having a good morning. So this is going on, and you probably saw this already because it's been hitting the blogosphere full throttle. I always call everything the blogosphere. I'm just like, the blogosphere. Lucy just bounced. I don't know what she wanted to hear the song. Then she bailed. She's like, I'm out. All right, I'm good. But check this out. So Bernie Sanders recently apologized to Joe Biden. Why did Bernie Sanders apologize to Joe Biden? Well, he apologized for a column that Zephyr Teachout wrote. And, well, let's see what happened here. All right. Sanders apologizes to Biden for surrogate's op-ed alleging he has a big corruption problem. All right. So Senator Bernie Sanders apologized to former Vice President Joe Biden on Monday for an op-ed written by one of his campaign surrogates that claim Biden has a big corruption problem. Here's what Bernie Sanders had to say about it. It is absolutely not my view that Joe is corrupt in any way, and I'm sorry that op-ed appeared. The op-ed published in The Guardian by law professor Zephyr Teachout claims Biden has perfected the art of taking big contributions, then representing his corporate donors at the cost of middle-class Americans. While Teachout does not officially work on the Sanders campaign, she stumps for him and has introduced and endorsed him. Let's see here. I think it is important to know where a senator has come and where his head is at, and Joe's record on Social Security is a little different than mine, said Sanders. Let's see here. I appeal to my supporters, please engage in civil discourse. And by the way, we're not the only campaign that does it. Other people act that way as well. I would appeal to everyone, have a debate on the issues. We can disagree with each other without being disagreeable, without being hateful. That is not what American politics should be about. Later Monday night, Biden thanked Bernie for his remarks on Twitter. So this was a bad move. That's my take. This was a bad move. Now, some people are saying that, well, he's being nice. Isn't it cool that he's being nice? Isn't that a good thing that he's being nice? Okay. Being nice applies when something uncivil was done. And nothing uncivil was done here. If a Biden supporter went up to, if a Bernie surrogate or someone, close to the Bernie campaign went up to Joe Biden and was like, calls him a name or something. I can't even think of like just pick a name. Like you're a shill, you're a hack, you're a phony, you're a whatever negative name. And then they knock an ice cream cone out of his hand or something like that. Okay. Then I can understand Bernie being like, you know what, that's not the way to go about a campaign. That's not the way to go about our politics. And I apologize for that. And I condemn that behavior. But he condemned an op-ed that Teachout wrote And well, let's go through it. Here's what Bernie Sanders condemned. This is just an op-ed. Writing an accurate op-ed about a political opponent is not being uncivil or being mean or being rude even. It's engaging in the political process. All right, so let's take a look. Let's see. Did she insult Joe Biden? Let's see for ourselves right now. Here is the article that Bernie condemned. Middle-class Joe Biden has a corruption problem. It makes him a weak candidate. Okay, she's expressing an opinion that he's a weak candidate. Democrats are trying to choose a candidate to beat Donald Trump, the most corrupt president in history. Some think nominating Joe Biden, a moderate white man who calls himself middle-class Joe, makes sense. Okay, no insults there. Moderate white man, those are accurate descriptions of what Joe Biden is, who calls himself middle-class Joe. Again, that's just a fact. Biden has a big corruption problem, and it makes him a weak candidate. I know it seems crazy, but a lot of the voters we need, independents and people who might stay home, will look at Biden and Trump and say they're all dirty. It looks like middle-class Joe has perfected the art of taking big contributions. That's true. Then representing his corporate donors at the cost of middle and working-class Americans. Okay, well, does she give some receipts to support this? Yes, she does. Let's keep going. Converting campaign contributions into legislative favors and policy positions isn't being moderate. It is the kind of transactional politics Americans have come to loathe. That's true. There are three clear examples. First, Biden's support for finance over working class Americans. Okay, so she made a claim. She made a claim about him, and here she is backing it up. She's talking about what she's referring to. First, Biden's support for finance over working class Americans. His career was bankrolled by the credit card industry. That's true. He delivered for it by spearheading a bankruptcy bill that made it harder for Americans to reduce their debt and help cause the financial crisis. He not only authored and voted for that bill, he split it with Barack Obama and led the battle to vote down Democratic amendments. Okay. The simplest explanation is the most likely. He did this for his donors. Second, healthcare. On the 25th of April, the day he announced his campaign, Biden went straight to a fundraiser co-hosted by the chief executive of a major health insurance corporation. He also went to a dinner with a bunch of Comcast executives. That's how Biden launched his campaign. That's not something rude. That's not something mean. That's a fact. That's stating a fact. He refuses to sign a pledge to reject money from insurance and pharma execs. A fact. And continues to raise money from healthcare industry donors. A fact. His campaign is being bankrolled by a super PAC run by healthcare lobbyists. A fact. Okay. Third, climate change. Biden signed a pledge not to take money from the fossil fuel industry, then broke his promise. A fact. Right after a CNN town hall on climate change, he held a fundraiser hosted by the founder of a fossil fuel conglomerate. A fact. He is pushing climate policy that has gotten dismal reviews from several leading environmental groups. Okay, you get the idea. You don't need to keep saying a fact, a fact, a fact. This is not some mean smear piece. This is not some rude, uncivil piece. This is just a statement about Joe Biden's candidacy that are backed up with facts. And that's what Bernie is writing off. He's saying this was wrong. So Bernie is wrong here. Bernie is totally in the wrong here. This does not warrant any apology. And to throw a supporter under the bus here at the behest of Joe Biden's feelings is very politically tone deaf, to say the very least. Another issue here is the timing. All right, what has Bernie Sanders done recently? Well, he's done a lot of great things recently. First of all, he went into the New York Times offices and basically told them our system is failing, the media is failing, Republicans and Democrats are failing the American people, and I don't care about your birthday. That's pretty much what he did, and people loved it. Also, his campaign started calling out Joe Biden's record on Social Security, and people loved it. And when Joe Biden was like, that's a lie, that's not true, people started circulating a bunch of video clips of Joe Biden calling for Social Security cuts over the years. So now what Bernie has done by issuing this apology is that people are going to lump these two events together. Bernie is apologizing for something that deserves no apology whatsoever. That is a piece written about a person running for president that accurately describes their record and expresses concerns because of that record. It does not lob any personal insults at Joe Biden, nothing close. It warrants no apology. None. And Bernie Sanders, and by the way, Zephyr Teachout, not even working directly for the campaign. And yet Bernie Sanders apologizes for it. And now, because of this apology, people are going to associate it with the Social Security thing. They're going to be like, oh, I guess there's nothing to that Social Security thing. Here Bernie is apologizing to Biden. I guess Biden's not that bad, and Bernie's just making it out like Biden's worse than he is. That's what a general voter is going to think. The timing chosen here by the Bernie campaign and by Bernie Sanders himself was very terrible. It was terrible. And you know, to the people who are defending Bernie on this one, saying, well, he's being nice. No, that doesn't apply here. Nothing rude was done to Joe Biden. I'm sorry, that politics works by engaging different candidates on the issues and holding their record to account and looking at them with scrutiny. There's nothing to apologize for here. Nothing at all. So I think Bernie has gotten this wrong. I think Bernie's gotten this wrong big time. So, and again, we just went through the entire piece. What in there? I mean, that would be the question to ask. Bernie, what needs to be apologized for here? What needs to be apologized for? And you kind of wonder, man, what is all this skit? I mean, what? I wonder if people are apologizing to Bernie for anything. I wonder, you know, Bernie apologized to Joe Biden for something that doesn't warrant an apology. Is Joe Biden going to apologize to Bernie for lying about Medicare for all? For, you know, spreading misinformation about Bernie's healthcare plan? Is that going to happen? Let's see. Here's another thing that's going on. Hillary Clinton in full, a fiery new documentary. Trump regrets and harsh words for Bernie. Nobody likes him. That's Hillary Clinton's message to Bernie. Nobody likes you. Bernie keeps calling Joe Biden his friend, Liz Warren his friend, and Hillary is unintentionally giving him some great advice. Bernie, nobody likes you. That's the nobody she's referring to. She's referring to her circle. She's not referring to the American people. She knows darn well people like Bernie. Even her hubris. Someone comes out of nowhere, wins 22 states, would have won more had they not been cheated, against one of the biggest political dynasties in the Democratic Party, in the history of the party, that had everything tilted in her favor. Yet Bernie almost beat her, and probably would have beat her had it been a fair contest. And you're going to say no one likes that guy? Come on. No, you're referring to your circle. That's what you're referring to. We know this. So here, let's go down to the quote here. In this doc, you're brutally honest on Sanders. He was in Congress for years. This is the interviewer asking Hillary Clinton this. He was in Congress for years. He had one senator support him. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to work with him. He got nothing done, except he's considered the amendment king. He was a career politician. It's all just baloney, and I feel so bad that people got sucked into it. Does that assessment still hold, the interviewer asked. Yes, it does. Now, here's the other part that everyone's talking about. If he gets the nomination, they're referring to Bernie. Will you endorse and campaign for him? I'm not going to go there yet. We're still in a very vigorous primary season. I will say, however, that it's not only him. It's the culture around him. It's his leadership team. It's his prominent supporters. It's his online Bernie bros and their relentless attacks on lots of his competitors, particularly the women. And I really hope people are paying attention to that, because it should be worrisome that he has permitted this culture. Not only permitted, he seems to be very much supporting it. And I don't think we want to go down that road again where you campaign by insult and attack, and maybe you try to get some distance from it. This is the person who just said that that nobody likes Bernie Sanders. The person who says nobody likes him. She's saying don't lead by attacks. This is the person who called a veteran a Russian agent, who called a member of the Green Party who was tied to a chair for 8 hours because she knew that she had the right to try to participate in democracy and wanted an anti-war voice to be on that stage. She called that person an agent of Russia. She accused them both of being traitors to the country. Based on what? Nothing. Based on absolutely nothing. And Hillary Clinton is telling people not to lead with attacks. Hillary Clinton. She did about 10 events for Barack Obama when Barack Obama beat her in 2008. First of all, she didn't want to, she waited a while to endorse him. She made a comment that part of the reason she was waiting is because maybe he would get shot. She hinted that maybe he would get shot. A black man running for president who went on to become the first black president of our country. She made comments hinting maybe he'll get shot in 2008. You can find footage of her doing that. The person who called everybody who didn't want to vote for her backwards and deplorable. The person who called the entire Midwest backwards. All the people who voted for her because they didn't want to see a Trump presidency. She called them backwards because their state didn't end up going for her. She's telling people not to lead with attacks. The person who smeared and shamed anybody who ever accused her husband of sexual assault and misbehavior. She's telling people not to lead with attacks. The person who, when Black Lives Matter interrupted an event at her campaign, she told them to get in the corner and shut up. She's telling you not to lead with attacks. The person who claimed the DNC gave her nothing, even though the DNC handed her everything, including a nomination. She's telling you not to lead with attacks. I bet this docuseries is great. I bet this docuseries on Hillary Clinton is incredible. I bet it's really something to behold. So Hillary Clinton still showing up. The docuseries is on Hulu, by the way. The docuseries is on Hulu. And now there was nothing more remarkable than what happened in I was on Crosstalk. We taped earlier today, and we talked about the debate that CNN held. And that debate, like I told you guys, I said it before, and I'll say it again. And again, I am a guy who normally does not like to speak in superlatives. I normally don't do it, but here I go. There's exceptions to every rule, right? That debate was the worst display of news and information I saw on any type of major network ever in my lifetime. I've never seen anything like it. It was so cringeworthy bad. Just the questions, the way they were leading, the chyrons, and it wasn't just directed at Bernie. It was all over the place. Amy Klobuchar, she would make these statements. They never asked her to specify on anything. They never challenged her on anything. She just made these statements. She's against free college. She goes, these people who want free college aren't thinking big enough. Well, what's your big idea then? You're against free college. Or tuition-free college, rather. It's technically not free. It's included, but you know what I mean. Tuition-free college. No one asked her that. They just let her say it. Joe Biden makes all these bogus assessments on Bernie's healthcare plan. They just let him say it. They say to Bernie, did you say that to Elizabeth Warren, that you don't think a woman could be president? No, I did not say it. Next question to Liz Warren. Hey, how did you feel when Bernie Sanders said this? And then they did the same thing. Bernie, you should tell people how much Medicare for all costs. Okay, here's a figure assessing the cost of Medicare for all. Next question. Biden, isn't it unfair that Bernie doesn't say how much Medicare for all costs? I mean, it was unbelievable how terrible that debate was. And the fact that it's permissible. I mean, the bar for our corporate media is so painfully low. It's unreal to begin with. Somehow that bar has been even lowered. But here's a friendly reminder, and Tim sends this to us. This is from a while back, but let's keep in mind who are pulling the strings here. CNN hires a GOP political operative to help coordinate 2020 coverage. CNN's latest political hire is making major waves, or perhaps better described, the hiring of Sarah Isgur has created a tsunami. It's well-known cable networks hire partisan analysts to give their opinions, but Isgur was hired to be among those in charge of editorial decisions in the upcoming campaign, and she is far from nonpartisan. The new politics editor was most recently the spokesperson for former Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Before that, she worked on campaigns for the likes of Ted Cruz, Carly Fiorina, and Mitt Romney. But that just scratches the surface. Here are some other reasons why people say Isgur has no business helping to run a department at CNN. She has no journalism experience. Washington Post reporter Josh Dalsey writes she pledged loyalty to Donald Trump. She has heavily criticized CNN in the past, including once dubbing the news organizations the Clinton News Network. She has indicated climate change is not a threat. So the big thing here is, even putting aside her political bias, even putting aside this person's political bias, they have no journalistic experience, which is huge here and very typical of CNN. CNN, Jeff Zucker, has made it very clear CNN is not in the business of news. They are in the business of ratings and their shareholders. He's made that very clear. You can find statements of him pretty much saying that in a slightly more flowery way than I just put it, but he pretty much admits to it. CNN, and that's why when you have no journalistic standards, you just publish things where a couple anonymous sources told you something. Hey, some anonymous sources said this, good enough for me. And that's what they did recently. A couple anonymous people talked about a private conversation. CNN published it uncritically. And then other media outlets published it, citing CNN as a source. The organization that published it without any sources, completely uncritically. This is our news media. This is our news media. So that's a friendly reminder. Here's something that happened that's actually pretty cool. I like this. We're going to listen to this. And I do appreciate this very much. AOC did this recently. So here, let's check this out. We'll go to the beginning, give it a little bit of volume.
Our left party. We don't have a left party in the United States. The Democratic Party is not a left party.
People are applauding.
The Democratic Party is a center or center conservative party. We do not advocate for, we can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all. Not even a floor vote that gets voted down. We can't even get a vote on it. So this is not a left party. There are left members inside the Democratic Party that are working to try to make that shift happen. But you're right, it does convey a certain sentiment about true believers. And there are a lot of true believers in that we can capitalism our way out of poverty. In the Democratic Party. If anything, that's probably the majority.
Right.
And that's an area in which I agree with Dr. King, that assessment is flawed.
The Democratic Party is not a left party. It's a center-right party. She's addressing that. And she's addressing the fact that, yes, there are some left members in the Democratic Party. Why? Because they have nowhere else to go. They really have nowhere else with electoral power to go right now. And that's something I would like to see change. You know, I showed up in 2017 to try to get Bernie to start a new party. I do think that starting a viable third party is possible. Not right now. I mean, not right now. I think the window of opportunity was a couple years ago. It was not taken. And you're saying, well, Ron, does a couple years make a difference? Well, yeah, because the Republicans became what we know as the Republicans within a 6-year period. So yes, the time window was a couple years ago. It's not going to happen right now, the year of a presidential election. But I wanted a new party to start. I showed up encouraging that to happen, to have an actual People's Party. And for something like that to happen in electoral politics, you need a huge movement, but you also need some leaders. You need, some viable leaders that are going to be the face of it. And the people who are big enough to do something like that have, at least to my knowledge, all said no. They've all said no. So, this is kind of what we're stuck with. And, AOC has summed it up. Like, yeah, it's not, imagine, just take into account for a second that the majority of Democrats, according to her statement, the majority of Democrats believe that capitalism will rise people out of poverty. Capitalism, in many ways, is the cause of a lot of poverty. We don't have charitable acts because of capitalism. We have charitable acts in spite of capitalism. So this idea that capitalism, where, the money is just going to the top, going to the profits, everything's all about the profits, not about the human. There's just no, as she put it, it's very flawed, and that's putting it gently. I'm reading a book right now called Debt, and it's all about the history of debt. It's a very, very dense, thick book, and I've really been struggling getting through it, but I've been enjoying it. But it's like I'll have to go back and revisit stuff because I won't quite grasp stuff the first time. It's a very, very, very heavy read, and it talks about how debt just kind of came to be, how money came to be. And it kind of goes into all these details about how once we started pursuing this idea of profit, well, that's when war economies started. And we kind of see human history repeating itself over and over again up to present day. We want profit, we want resources, so we start war and we continue war. And then a bunch of poets and philosophers, as they put it back then, respond to this by saying humanity should do better. And the cycle continues. And many, many years ago, like in China, BC, there were a couple thinkers and philosophers that said, you know what, when we pursue profit first, that's when everything becomes corrupt. We should pursue humans first, and we should make this all about the quality of life for each other and for our fellow man, and we should try to be communal. And we shouldn't be just pursuing profit above all else, and we shouldn't be pursuing war. And those people were ignored. They didn't listen to those people. So a long time ago, people figured it out that we shouldn't be doing it this way. When we just are we're going to get as much as possible for ourselves, and that's our main agenda. Well, that's when you invade other places to take their stuff, and that's bad. War's a shitty thing. They figured it out a long time ago. A long, long time. And they were ignored. And they were like, no, we're going to keep doing it this way and see what happens. And thousands of years later, thousands upon thousands of years later, here we are. Here we are. And AOC is IDing the problem. We have a two-party system where one party is a center-right party at best, and the other party is a neo-fascist party. And why is the GOP so horrible and repulsive? Well, because the Democrats are such a weak, borderline non-existent alternative. And, it's a long haul to really transform our politics. And as AOC puts it, people are trying. There are some left people that have infiltrated the system, but we need a lot more of that. And we also need a movement behind it. People are starting to notice that the Democratic establishment is ignoring its base. More and more people are noticing that. But that still needs to grow, and that still needs to amplify. But I do appreciate AOC's take on this one. I think that's a really cool statement she made, and a really good statement. So, and true. It's the sad truth. All right. Let me see what you guys are saying. And that's how we'll dismount. By the way, tour dates, I got them. RonPlacone.com. This Saturday, Santa Clarita, California. Santa Clarita, don't be shy. Come on out. Get those tickets. Don't wait. February 8th, Tucson, Arizona. February 29th, San Francisco, California. March 12th, Orlando, Florida. March 13th, Tampa, Florida. March 14th, Miami, Florida. April 9th, I'll be at Concord University. If you want to bring me to your campus, by the way, RonPlacone.com, email me. April 10th, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. April 24th, Seattle, Washington. April 25th, Portland, Oregon. May 14th, Indianapolis, Indiana. May 15th, Detroit, Michigan. May 16th, Cleveland. Hold tight. Tickets are coming. June 19th, Louisville, Kentucky. June 20th, Nashville, Tennessee. June 21st, Atlanta. Hold tight. Tickets are coming. July 11th, Chicago, Illinois. July 12th, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. August 14th, Washington, D.C., August 15th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and more. We should have more announcements soon. Richmond, Virginia, hold tight. We're working on it. September 10th, New York City. Tickets available now. September 11th, Boston, Mass. Tickets available now. September 12th, Portland, Maine. Tickets available now. September 13th, Burlington, Vermont. We're working on it, and we should have some news for you real soon. October, tickets are available now. October 16th, Madison, Wisconsin. October 17th, Minneapolis, Minnesota, baby. How about that? Also, something we're going to talk about tomorrow, and I'm going to wait until tomorrow because I'm waiting to hear more from him directly. He may have said something as of this stream, but something's going on with Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald has been he's been accused of hacking documents, and he's being charged in Brazil. And it looks, this looks like free press persecution. That's exactly what this looks like. And I am very confident that's what this is. They're going after Glenn Greenwald. There's been a couple articles, one from the New York Times, one from Media Bistro. And I'm waiting to see what Glenn has to say about this directly. So we're going to cover that tomorrow, probably first thing tomorrow. By then, a lot more will have unfolded. But as of right now, still waiting to hear. But it looks like they're going after Glenn Greenwald. They're trying to do a hit job on Glenn Greenwald. And so far, that's all we know. They're accusing him of hacking some documents over in Brazil. And we should know more by tomorrow. Let's see here. Angry Hairpiece. Thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. Here's money for you too. Refi00. Thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. Fault Lines Radio. They're great interviewers, hosting guests. Cool. I'll have to look into that. I'm not familiar. Sparky. Biden drops out because health. Hillary slides in. People are speculating that. I don't know so much about Biden dropping out, but people are speculating Hillary might somehow come out from the wings. I guess we'll see. Call it replacement party, not third party. As a fan of the replacements, I can get on board with that. Well, hey, I always say we need a third party, not because I want, a third option, but because I want a second one. Ray Foley, Ron, Bernie is throwing the fight. I hope not. Epstein didn't kill himself. I'm with you. Sparky, till ranked choice voting's common, it's two parties. I agree. Sparky, I lived in socialist Europe. Charities unknown. Maybe so, but it's certainly not better off in capitalism. At least I don't think. Let's see. Tisha, is the LA election department still hijacking the primary? Will this be the new normal? As far as I know, yeah, they're still going through with these. That was the best. We talked about that yesterday. Hey, here's a horrible voting machine that has everything wrong with it, but we're using it anyway. Why? I don't know. We're just going to use it. Prison Industrial Complex. Sparky, thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. Prison Industrial Complex may not like Tulsi decriminalizing drugs. Of course they don't. Yeah, of course they don't. Yeah, they don't want to end the drug war. They totally want the drug war. Of course. So, Tim, thank you for the articles today. And Joe and everybody, thank you for the articles today. Angry Hairpiece, Refi, Sparky, Tisha, Ray, Sparky, Tisha, Sparky again. Thank you very much for the Super Chat contributions. And if you want to support this show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. For a give what you can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content, including my album available for download. Boom. And you get full stand-up clips not available anywhere else. And you get dialogues between myself and my cat Lucy before they get illustrated. And you get a patrons-only stream once a week where I only respond to the patrons. It's a good time. And what do you help me do? You help me build this show, and you help me build this channel. I want to start doing mini documentaries around municipal broadband and city-owned internet. I want to do an interview series with musicians about 2020. I do need your help to get there, because that's going to take more editors. That's going to take more studio time. That's going to take camera people and production assistants. You get the idea. So patreon.com/Ron Placone, even $1 a month goes a long way. And guys, you know the drill. Lucy says meow, I say peace. And but before the show officially ends, there is somebody. So apparently, Bernie issued this apology, and apparently there's a little more to it. There's a couple more players involved here. So we're going to hear from somebody who says that they know what really went down. So guys, I'm signing off. I'll see you all tomorrow, same time, same channel. In the meantime, the drill. Lucy says meow, I say peace. But please hold tight to hear the supposed truth. I guess we'll see what happens here. Hello. Yes, it's me. So Bernie issued an apology to Joe Biden for an op-ed that one of his supporters wrote about Joe Biden that was also accurate to Joe Biden, my guy. But Bernie apologized anyway. Why did he apologize, you ask? Me. I made him apologize. If you remember, Bernie did not fall for Liz Warren's hot mic moment. Why did he not fall for Liz Warren's hot mic moment? Because I taught Bernie improv classes. I taught Liz Warren improv class too. Why? Because I'm Chaos Agent 11. I like chaos. I teach both of them improv class. Bernie did superior job in improv class by not falling for gotcha moment from Liz Warren. So Bernie got A in improv class. I sent Bernie his grades via carrier pigeon. He got it. He said, "Thank you, Chaos Agent 11. I am so honored I got A in improv class. However, I got news. Campaign will not cover improv class fee," which was just a box of Cheerios and cat treats for Black Cat. So I don't know why campaign wouldn't cover it, but they would not cover my fee for my improv class. So I said, "Okay, Bernie, we will just call this a trade-off, if you will. We will do a little quid pro quo. You do favor for me, we call it even." And he said, "Okay, Chaos Agent 11, what do you want?" And I said, "Apologize to Joe Biden." He said, "For what? What do I owe Joe Biden an apology for?" I'm like, "I don't know. Chaos, you'll think of it." And then I found teacher email, that op-ed that Zephyr Teachout wrote, whatever her name is. And I said, "This." And he's like, "That's a very nice op-ed." I said, "I don't care. You apologize for it." And he's like, I don't know if that's a smart idea." I was like, "You have to do it or no more improv classes." Bernie could not imagine going through primary without my improv classes, so he issued apology. And there you have it. Chaos has been sown. Those are very valuable improv classes. If you want to sign up for improv class too, go to www.chaosagent11improvclasses.com. Send your social security number and blood sample. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do any of that. Just send your email address. That's all I need. But yes, chaosagent11improvclasses.com, and I will teach you improv too. The same improv Bernie Sanders has gotten. Now you know the truth. Chaos sown. Until next time, you know drill. Meow says Black Cat. I say chaos.